Hey, how you doing, sports fans? Today's the 23rd of February. Looking at the news on the Russia, Ukraine. I'm thinking about this shit. Takes me back to my childhood, back to the 50s and the 60s. I'm trying to watch my language and all, but that's why I say this are my opinions as I see it. I'm 72, born and raised in El Paso, Texas. And I was an alcoholic. I got 43 years clean and sober by the grace of God. I'm alive, not rich. I look at a lot of the journalists that, well, I can see when I sobered up that, I was a drunk for basically 15 years. I lost a lot. I didn't finish my college and, a lot, but I'm comparing a little bit like excuse me, with the way of thinking that what I see now through sober eyes, uh, what I'm seeing on television and all these experts, and I might as well put. That's why I named it. To say I put my 2 cents in. 2 cents, just that's an old saying for you young people. But it's just my opinion. Don't send me no death threats. Don't come out with no dumb shit. You're an ant. It's just my opinion. If you want to give me and make a comment and something reasonable as to, express your opinion. We're just trade. That's what communication is, a back and forth. Don't get all crazy on me, and you know. But I'm wondering. It makes me wonder. I very seldom. I just heard right now on Laura Ingram. She mentioned the Putin. She was in Moscow back in '83 or '85. She mentioned, well, uh, putting things in perspective, Putin was a KGB guy. I was talking to my 91-year-old sister. I says, nobody ever hardly mentions that. What I like Putin from a distance. I think he was 7 or 8 degree black belt. I mean, the guy knows his shit. And when he was younger and all this and that, I'm looking up his net worth. The guy got a mansion, a race car. Guy got money. All right, he's not hurting. Don't look like to me. It's like most of these people got so much fucking money. I don't hear the word love. I don't hear the word God used. They don't believe in God or whatever. That tells you something right there. But it's just I'm so sick of this the Cold War and the Kennedy. Marilyn Monroe got killed. They say maybe the KGB was involved because they don't want all that information coming out. She was beautiful. That's an American dream or whatever. What is it that you don't like? Do you like poverty and potato soup? I mean, I happen to like potato soup, but what is this? Is this elitist psycho? Uh, what do you call it? Psycho? A psycho? They like to impose harm, make other people suffer. They get off on that. I said, what is it you gotta? They showed a map. Russia's the largest area in the world. A lot of nothing over there, Siberia and all that. But how much? What the world want world domination? Why do you have to? You're not God. To me, it's just Satan. It's always that God wants a nice life, Satan wants the opposite, and it's a constant power struggle. So that's what I'm going to call Putin. The respect I got for him, Joe Biden, he's old like me. He's 79, I think, this year. And I'm looking at him. I said, this poor bastard. But I tell you something, too. I says, hey, if you got to beat up or taking advantage of an old man or a weak man, shame on you. You're not trying to help nothing. So just that's just in general terms. I'm listening as the UN, NATO, everybody's having emergency meetings, and the Ukraine president was talking to the Russian television, and it's like after a while you start getting a headache. What this and that, trying to understand. My sister told me just remember God's in charge, and when it starts warming up, I like this time of year. It starts warming up a little bit. The sun come up a little earlier, and the sun goes down a little later. I'm a working guy, and that's maybe the snow and ice will melt, and the tanks will get stuck in the mud. I don't know. I'm trying to make light of it. I was telling my sister because I'm so sick and tired of being depressed. And back in your mind, since you're a kid, it's the Russian. They had a movie back around 1959. The Russians are coming. They had missiles pointed from Russia. It was going to hit. I think it was 20 or 40 American cities, the large cities. They had capabilities. So when you're a kid, you think, what the fuck with a nuclear bomb? You've seen what they did with the atomic bomb in Japan. You're shitting in your pants. You're scared. Maybe you try to act like you're not scared, but it's pretty sad. I'm just sick of it. I was looking on the internet. Sometimes the internet's a curse. You learn more. You learn more. You find out shit you don't really want to know. It says it's 250. I don't hear that either. I say, what is it? The war around where the Samoans are from? On the Midway, the Battle of Midway, out in the middle of where they did the atomic bomb. It's over there by Hawaii somewhere, and they were experimenting with the atomic bomb, and the radiation fucked up a lot of I think it's partly Samoans or something like that. But at the end it was like an hour and a half documentary. It was about the American military, and that they got 250 just in it was in the Pacific. How they coming out of Korea, China. There's an inlet where the cargo ships go, and it said the U.S. is strategically placed over there with some warships or submarines, nuclear equipped. I thought we got rid of all of this. What they don't tell you. So the United States ain't no better. Really, now they'll blow that smoke up your ass with his trucker convoy. If you're a patriot, if you believe in liberty, yeah, I do. But I also motherfuckers are lying to us from both sides. The Democrats and the Republicans. Yeah, the president said we think it's blah 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 blah. They like being on TV or whatever. Okay. After a while, I said, you can't trust nobody. So anyhow, that documentary said that they got, I don't know, 250 nuclear submarines, I believe it was, all around the world, or just in the Pacific, something like that. A lot. And it also says that if if Russia or China throws one nuclear warhead, like a mushroom cloud, and all the sky will begin to turn black, and then the wind's going to take it all around the world, and it's not going to go away real quick. It's like ash. It'll, eventually, I don't know if it's true or not. We don't want to find out. But the end result, that's just from one nuclear weapon going off. Now, I was reading something else that says that the whole world is the sun won't be able to penetrate, the crops will die, we'll all starve to death. So, what was I going to say? I forgot what I was saying here. As part of that panic, anxiety, there again, they like this. Just, you know what? I might as well make a joke. I made my peace with the Lord. I'm just so sick of being depressed, anxiety, and this, that, and the other. And I'm looking at the trucker protest. You know, the Americans is heading over to D.C. They're going to block off the Beltway, something like that, on when next Monday or Tuesday, when Biden gives his March 1st gives a State of the Union. There's now the politician, I guess Nancy Pelosi, wants to fence off. She don't want another January 6th, right? You know, they're scared to death and all that. We call out all the National Guard and get ready for the truckers. I guess they're going to label us terrorists. I says, hey, you know what? They got a load going to South Carolina. I need to make some money to pay the bills and try to stay ahead of the inflation or even with it. Driving 1,000 miles, 15, 16, almost 2,000 miles to sit there like the Canadian truckers for 2 or 3 weeks. You know, that I can afford it, but that's going to take me down to zero. I worked the last 13 and a half years. I was talking on my last video, I was down to 50 cents with my son in a wheelchair. You know, that's the way I started. You want to, these motherfuckers, I'm sorry, you know, these motherfuckers, these journalists and politicians and whatnot, they're part of the problem too. They're not in touch with the poor people. Like, who wants to be poor? But the homeless in California has already got mental issues. Like California, you go outside LA, well, Reagan closed the mental hospitals in the 70s. You build like a warehouse, a couple of gigantic warehouses like these corporations are doing. You put up housing, cheap housing, as cheap as you can get it, you know, and then have the doctors come in and diagnose these people. That's part of it's a growing problem. Like the criminals, they have private prisons and all that. It turned into a business. Like the Border Patrol now, they got all this confiscating weapons, and also they've confiscated $52 million this last year on drug money. Like, what? Yeah, that's the first time I heard about that. And I said, oh yeah, well, it all comes around to become a business now. Hopefully, I think what I see, most of 99% of the Border Patrol is just doing a job. They're honest. But I've also seen some that are tempted by that big money. I mean, if cartel guys said, let me go or something, I'll give you $500,000, $1 million. Look the other way. Shit. You know, I'll never make $1 million in my life. Maybe I'll turn my back once or twice, you know. Kind of don't blame them, you know, but it's because the way it's going is ridiculous. Ridiculous, you know. And if you don't like what I'm saying, is you get out here and drive a truck over the road and try to make a living. I was out 3.5 months, and then I called the Uber guy. I went to get a Harbor Freight. I went to get my inverter, and I says, yeah, it was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and a young guy is about 30. I says, yeah, I don't go home every day at 5 and jump in the shower and all that shit, man. It's rugged out there. So I paid my dues, and you can see I'm not dressed in a I don't have a fucking suit and tie and girlfriend, a wife, and kids and all that. So I'm just speaking from my heart to tell people it's the good, the bad, and the ugly. Call me the ugly. I don't really give a shit. Like I say, I made my peace with the Lord. It just the struggle. How they say the struggle is real. It ain't pretty, but it works. I just got some more groceries, paid up, caught up on all my bills. I feel great this afternoon. I got that little inverter, working on my '68 Cadillac, buying the little tools and shit you need, and cooked up I had some pork chops. I got enough for $8. I think it was $8 from Walmart. Hey, they give you eight pork chops, good sized pork chops. I cooked them up, cut them up, add a little rice or something, just to got some broccoli, just trying to get myself healthy. Try to keep these cigarettes. I do like 10 or 12 cigarettes a day. I allow myself that. Now, I got a little, I don't know what it is, like the phlegm from the cigarettes, get down in here, I'm laying down at night and I can feel that got a little phlegm in there or something. I try to cough it up. I've been doing that most of my. I quit smoking for 5 years, but then I was in Palmdale, California, all by myself, freezing my ass off. No money, no coffee. My girlfriend left, and she had thrown her cigarette butts on the property. I had an acre, and I said, "Man, the land is so beautiful." And I said, "How the fuck you throw your cigarettes on my property?" I said, "Pick them up." Well, she picked up one or two. Here, you happy now? And I think it was around Christmas or something. And I said, "Oh, I'm so perfect. I got my little acre of land, and ain't nobody want to be around you." So I think I was down to my last coffee. I had half a teaspoon of coffee, and heated up some water. You got a little propane and some water. And I'm looking over, the sun's coming up. Beautiful, man, beautiful. But I said, what the fuck? I'm trying to be too perfect or something, And she left a little cigarette butt. I lit it up, and there's a couple of them. I said, fuck it. I'm an addict. I got to watch. I quit alcohol and drugs, and uh, you know, chasing of women all the time. Uh, I, I try not to blame myself because that's where I try to tell my story or testify, and I realize when I talk about it that where I come from, I'm lucky I'm alive, and the AA principles are, you know, I got a roof over my head, I got a couple of bucks in my pocket, uh, I got a place to sleep and something to eat, a couple of cigarettes so I look back at this, I didn't I was sleeping in the hallways in New York when I was young. So many bad things that could have also gotten bad real quick, worse, or get stabbed or shot. Like I'm listening to Michael Franzese and Sammy the Bull on their podcast. They're from Brooklyn, And so much of the action, a lot of the action was in Manhattan. And you're right next to it. I ended up on the Bowery. I was driving a cab. I had a couple apartments. I'm getting girls. I'm young. I'm young. I'm like 26, pretty good looking. Couple of bucks. I'm half bombed to drive at night. Crazy rock and roll. But there was a flop. You get a little room for a little cubicle, they call it, for 85 cents a night. So if you're drunk, you're freezing to death, you come in and give them 85. You can panhandle. Used to panhandle like $10 an hour, sticking my hand out. I'm from El Paso, Texas. I'm not a hustler and hung out with a lot of blacks and all with it. I see them on TV now, Snoop Dogg and 50 Cent and all that. You know how that hustle. Yeah, well, I just panhandle. I'm a simple guy because there's try to. I can make $10 an hour. I can get drunk as a skunk. My last video, I was saying I grew up in El Paso, where Juarez, Mexico, was get a. I think it was a half pint or a pint of rum for 75 cents. You'd be in Juarez, Mexico in 5, 6, 7 minutes. Back in the 60s, you drive over there, get your parents' car, somebody's got a car. Hey, let's go to Juarez, you get some booze, cheap as hell. So, uh, you, I think a kilo of grass was $60 back in the 60s. You get heroin, they'll shoot you up a couple of dollars, $2 or something per shot, whatever you get laid for $2. What else you want? Get a little sandwich. You used to get a little sandwich. Go to they used to have the lobby. There was a old blues place on the main drag, and you go to 2 o'clock in the morning. All the high school kids were over there. You get a fresh bread with like ham and cheese, lettuce and tomato, little mayo, at 25 cents. So it was cheap. You could afford it. Hey, man, I'm hungry, guys. I'm trying to get a little sandwich. Can you spare a quarter? I mean, somebody, yeah, that's it. Here, man. Maybe they give you $1. you know. So getting by, well, nothing to it really, to me. But that was living at my parents' home in high school and all that. So a lot of times I forget that. I used to take that for granted. Once my parents died a few years ago, say, "Oh shit, I don't have that backup if I get in trouble or something." So I had to grow up a little bit, sober up and grow up. Suit up, show up. But I went to start the truck today. They didn't tow it. Okay, thank you, Lord. And then truck started right up. Okay, I got to change one tire, fix that. I'm looking at a load. There's another snowstorm coming from Dallas on up to Chicago, and that's fuck. I think I'm going to take another week off. Hold off. I got more money at this time of year than I ever had in my life. I got 3,500. No big deal, but man, that's a fortune to me. I mean, I'm over here nickel and diamond, but uh, I'm in pretty good shape, really, for my circumstances. I'm doing well, but I also get a little bit afraid. I trust in the Lord because I get afraid. I've never been in this position. What do I do? Because I know that you can. I get excited. This part of the brain gets emotional, and I went into Harbor Freight. I'm glad that the cab driver was sitting there waiting for me because I start looking around. I'm like a kid in a candy store, and I look at, oh man, you need that, to fix your tools and get the stuff you need to make your life easier, your work easier. So Uh, you gotta. I try to. My mother used to tell me one thing at a time. So I got an extra 25 feet of air hose, and I got an earthquake from Harbor Freight, the impact gun, and I think it was 169 or something. And I started, but I never used an air gun, so I'm learning. I said, well, let me try it. I started with the lug nuts on the car. I should have done all this back in high school, but I didn't. I was drinking, rocking, and rolling, and paying the bills and all that, looking at all that stuff. On the lighter side, I was doing a TikTok last night. A fucking Barbie doll, perfect fucking. I like blondes, nice, perfect teeth. I used to have teeth. Is doing that mugshot. That's a trend. This is guilty. You turn your head to the left. You know that's they do if you. I've been locked up about 50 times, and I was kind of like this. Lady is perfect in my eyes. I'm like, what is this? Say drug addict, and say drunk driving, DUI, and grand larceny or petty larceny. She said, well, it's the trend. I don't know. She said it's like a joke or something, but she says, really, I got 5 years clean and sober now. I'm looking at her. I can't even imagine her. She must have got away with. She got a face that could get away with anything, I guess. Well, right away, my heart goes out, and I'm thinking, well, I got 43 years. Maybe, you know, I'm sorry. I'm only human. I'm a guy. I'm thinking, yeah, I want to, marry me, But then I started thinking real quick. This is my dilemma, right? I says, oh man. I says, well, hold it. Could you, like the old school, my father? First, you got to be able to afford the woman. You need to take care of her as a man. That's the old school. And I says, nah, you want to, let's say she like you or talk to you, I'm old. Uh, but I says, well, what are you going to take her to Vegas for a weekend? I was looking at a casinos are open up. The MGM, fucking nice, beautiful. I don't gamble that much, but like the buffets, like I want to take my son down there back in the 90s. World class chefs, buffet, holy good stuff. And I watch them play poker or the roulette wheel or something like that, whatever, craps, like Casino, the Joe Pesci and all that. And then I would like to see a show, maybe an oldies show or something. And, treat yourself. I haven't been on vacation for 50 years. I said, well, right now, maybe it doesn't cost too much. Like back in the 80s, it was LA to Vegas. I think it was $25 a half hour flight. Uh, I think they give you a room for $14 a night and steak and eggs for breakfast, $2. You know, get a girl to go with you or something won't break the bank, and just have a little fun. But I said, nah, I can't afford all that. I put myself down a little bit, but I don't feel like looking up the prices right now. I'm kind of tired. But I said, I wonder, I says, just for a second, here's the devil. Yeah, I'm so lonely. I could really use a wife. I'm not going to live too much longer. I'd like to have, this is my ego. I'd like to have one more kid just to carry on. I got 129 IQ. I'm a rock and roller. Just to, a man lives his life through his son. So I lost my son 12 years ago, and I'm like lost. But the word lonely, I said, my sister said that today. Her husband died about a year ago. She's 90, 92, 91, 92. And I mentioned that to her, and she says, "Oh yeah, I'm lonely too." And I got the opportunity to tell my older sis. I says, I was just thinking that, and I says to myself, but as soon as I said the word lonely, I says, with God, you're never alone. God is there for you 24/7. And I've trained myself a little bit not to delve or dive into that lonely, depressed feeling. Uh, Woe is me, poor me, all that. And I thought, and I looked up for a minute. I looked out the window and I said, God's there for you. He's making everything work for me. Never had it so good. I got nobody telling me to pick up my clothes or this, that, and the other. I kind of like that, but uh, I've tried to help a lot of people, and with the women too. I used to. A lot of time they want to have, excuse me, start arguing or they got mental issues. Uh, they got another boyfriend. I try to tell some of these younger guys, you fall in love, you start thinking from your lower head. You don't use your common sense. I don't want to bum the guy out because that love is a good feeling. It's good for your brain and the endorphins and the dopamine and all that shit. It's a miserable life, so you got a little happiness in your life. Enjoy it. I'm all for that, but at the same token, it's like my dad used to tell me that he says, "Hey, don't forget something." What? You know, are you working? What happens? You get the girl pregnant. You got to take care of what is the children's protective. They'll snatch your kid in a minute. They don't give a shit. That's your kid. That's so. If you're gonna fuck around, you used to have her. I used to ask the girls, "Are you on birth control?" Yes. Use a condom or something. As the next thing you know, I mean, da 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 da. Joe. Yes, dear. What is it, honey? I'm pregnant. Well, hit you. You better be ready for that shit. You better want it. If you want it, it's marriage. It all goes together. But I'm looking on TikTok and shit that is. This one, I got 3 kids, no husband. This one got 3 kids, no husband. The truckers, some of them, I found a girl and she had a couple of kids. Hey, we hit it off. She was a stripper and this, that, and the other. I brought her to the house. I'm taking care of her. She's like my daughter, blah, blah, blah. The kids, you take them. The guy's 50, 60 years old. I don't know. But I think it's better if young people get together, and the girl, my mother got married when she was 14. She had a kid. Her first kid was like 20, 21 years old. She got more energy. And the guy's a little more stable, like 30 or so. And they're working, they're paying the bills, and you take care of the kid, you put food on the table, you get a little house. All that shit costs money, man. So we've gotten so far away from that. I don't even hardly talk about it because guys at the truck stop like laugh at me like, oh boy, that's them days are gone, which is depressing. Uh, let's make America great again, which means put God in your life and pray. Even Hillary said it takes a village. I had my son right around the time that Chelsea Clinton was born, and I'm watching him, and it sounds great. Yeah, yeah, you need a village. My son needed all kinds of help. He was disabled and shit, and my ex took off. But man, you need help, man. a lot of help at every turn of the way. My parents helped me out a little bit. Welfare, food stamps, all that shit. And I stopped and think. I says, wait a minute. How the fuck is Chelsea, Hillary Clinton? I'm thinking I'm over there in Long Beach on the east side, man. Downtown, that's rough, boy. Fucking rough. And I says, the fuck she talking about? She got probably give the limousine driver a $20 or $50 bill to go get some diapers when Chelsea Clinton was a little baby. Yeah, I said, yeah, it must be rough, Hillary. They were Bill Clinton was the governor, and then the president. I mean, even a blind man can see. Must be rough. You don't know what the fuck rough is, and I wasn't alone. But it's true. The more it just keeps coming up every time I look at the news or whatever. These people have so my dad and mom were like that. They had money after years getting older. When they talk to you, it's like they preach to you. But what I like about AA is that you reasonably clean. You go in there. It used to be 25 cents. You go to a meeting, but after the meeting, you go outside, smoke a cigarette. We used to smoke inside the club actually back in the 80s. Have a coffee. I think we did, yeah. And then you're talking to somebody for a while. You got a couple of buddies and a couple of girls over there that are trying to learn real estate and this, that, and the other. And everybody's got car problems and this, that, and the other. So, but you can, my buddy, hey, let's go get something to eat. I said, hey, I'm sure. Yeah, I'll buy you. You buy it next time. You help each other on an informal level. I used to sleep in my car outside. I come in the morning, gotta go in the restroom, wash my face, come out, I get a 25-cent coffee, light up a cigarette. They used to clean the ashtrays out over there. Yeah. Yeah, you light up like a Dean Martin or something, but how you doing today? You always have a little encouragement. So that worked. When I started selling used cars in Long Beach. That's when I fucked up. I got away from the AA program, to be honest with you. But it tells you also that it says after, the first 90 days, you want to get the booze and the drugs, detox your body. You clean out the body, then the mind starts to function a little more normally. And you start thinking, reasonably as the first 90 days. You try to get a year sober and, try to get work or whatever you need. Take care of business. It takes a while. It's not a fast, if I just thank God I got the message after a while. I was on probation, so that was part of the probation. I had to go 20 meetings a month. But looking back, I mean, that was 40 fucking years ago. I can say now that it paid off. It's paying off. It paid off in little things that you forget about sometimes. But getting back to the relationship thing, I started having 2, 3 year, I think a 4 year relationship, because it was just, I was driving a cab in New York. I'm with the hookers and fuck it, and lucky they started cracking down in LA on the AIDS up in Hollywood. And I'm looking to it at like Joey Buttafuoco over there in New York with that Amy Fisher. That cute little bitch, man. She's like 14. She's coming, hanging out at the repair shop. Her father had brought her there, brought his car there, and she came back, started hanging out, and the boss, he's banging her. She's underage, man. And he did 6 months. I think he was banging her for a couple of years. He's in New York, got a nice Italian motherfucker, got a nice repair shop. And I come out to LA and they caught him up on a strip at 5 o'clock in the morning. There's a hooker on the corner. He's got his BMW at the stop sign. Well, he's trying to, oh no, I was lost and I was trying to get directions. Hey, you're a lying motherfucker. You're lucky you didn't get 20 years for fucking this girl underage. But he's not in the program. Had a beautiful wife. She shot the wife and she fell in love with him. She come to the door, want to get rid of the wife, shot her right in the fucking face. I said, holy Jesus, man. And then the girl got put in prison for shooting. What was her name? I don't know, Mary Jo. I forget her name, but what a mess, man. This poor guy. If you can't stand you, they're telling me lately. They says, well, in Africa you can marry one woman, and by law, I don't know. I'm listening to the guy. I don't know if it's true or not. You can have 4 other wives. You can pick 4 other wives. And the guy's telling my buddy he was married. We're talking truck drivers. We're sitting there bullshitting. And he told the guy looked like a military guy. He says, "Hey, you married?" And he goes, "Yeah." And the guy from Africa, he said, "Well, you got your wife and you got 2 or 3 girlfriends. What's the difference?" The Mormons can have 7 wives. I don't know, man. I have no problem with one, but relationships are. I'm not good at relationships. I asked God to pick out a girl for me or something if it's meant to be. And I said, well, you read the Old Testament. You get up early in the morning, you go to work and plant the crops and all that and take care of business. And always pray to God and give your tithes 10%, help the poor or whatever. Live a righteous life. And God will give you a wife. That's the Old Testament. I said, well, are you getting up early in the morning? I get up later when it warms up, man. I can't take the cold no more. But I work all hours of the day or night. I got up at 2 o'clock last night and I was hungry and cooked up some eggs and I went back to sleep for about 6 hours. I said, hey, go ahead and get up. There's nothing to do right here. I'm listening to the news and I got some groceries from Walmart at coming 3 in the afternoon, and I went up to the truck. It's 11 o'clock. I said, okay, let me go take care of that. But because I'm calling this a little vacation, so it's life, My sister told me, she says, oh, the Old Testament is kind of strict. She says, oh, look at the New Testament. It's not as condemning, because if you don't do that, God's going to condemn you. But I'm saying, too, I think relationship-wise, I think I'm virtually condemned. I don't have enough money to, maybe next year I'll have enough money to go to Vegas or something, but, $1,000 or something like that. Something, go see a show or some oldie. I like oldies, I was going to buy some slacks and a couple of nice shirts to clean up a little bit and, act respectable. I don't know how to act respectable. That's the thing. I can learn, but I can be very nice if I have to. You're going in front of the judge, yes, sir, no, sir, you can't. But uh, in social life in America, I don't know what to do. And it used to be free love back in the 60s, and you go buy a gallon of wine or something, somebody, you're getting high, and a couple of girls around, you listen to rock and roll music or blues or something, and you're trying to make love to the girl. You're just learning. But to carry on a relationship or to make a commitment, oh Lord, people don't like to make a commitment for a house, a marriage, a house, or a new car. Well, you're locked in for the next 6 years on a car, 15 to 30 years on a house. That means you got to go to work every day for the next 30 years to pay off the house. Plus, and then she gets pregnant. Now you got a kid. She gets, two or three kids. Maron, hey, you almost have to be a gangster. I'm thinking of Michael Franzese. I guess he got 7 kids altogether. Look at Mick Jagger's got, I think he got 7 kids and like 20 grandchildren or something, got 4 or 5 wives. And Johnny Carson used to have 7 wives. He got divorced, got to pay alimony times 7. He says he's making money, man. He court's got him. He got to pay 7 exes. He didn't have no money left by the time he got done. He's broke again, So he got stuck in that machinery. My sister got married, and guy was a drunk and chasing her with a gun or something. And my dad told her to get away from him. She got a divorce. Got thrown out of the excommunicated from the Catholic Church, and then married this guy from the Air Force over here. And I don't like the guy, but I respect him. And they stayed married for 21, about 70 years. And he went to school, became a lawyer, and 50 years or better, 55 years a lawyer. And they come up from poverty, you know. But he was always working. He was a good guy, go to church and all that. Did the right thing. But I couldn't, I don't know, that wasn't me. And I went down the wrong path. And I was never lucky in business. To me, this is a success where I got my own trucking business, one truck, but there's so much involved in it. Holy moly. That I got 13 and a half years, and to me, I'm successful. Overcame a lot of, and like I said, I make about I'm up to like 20 grand a year, clear, but I start thinking about all the work I've done on the trailer and the truck and then the Cadillac and then the house over here. And I'm like, oh, fuck, I start to get up and I said, just go back to sleep, man. You worked for it. You deserve it. And I tell my sister, everybody's like, I get home. I was out 3.5 months, and so I see my neighbor and how you doing? I just got back and oh, pretty good. How's everything? How's your dad? The old man, and how's it going? And blah blah blah. And I said, when you going back to work? Like I just got here. I've been out 3.5 months. You try it. So I don't want to get sick with a pneumonia or whatever. I push and I push. I made my money, and then I was trying to make. I had 7 grand. I says, "Well, try to make 10. Take one more load, get 10 grand. That's the best you ever did." Boom, boom, boom. Got 10 grand. I said, you know what? I've been out 3.5. How long you been out? I said 3.5 months. I said, man, go to the house, man. Fuck it. Just your body. Your knees killing you. Your foot's killing you. your back's killing you. We'll take a break, man. So I've been sitting here for about a month, just sleeping and sleeping and sleeping. And I know you can sleep when you're dead, but at this point, what's the difference? So your health is more important than wealth, and I went to the truck stop this afternoon. I felt I could feel that I was a little rusted up, a little energized. I still don't feel too good. I was raking the yard, cleaning the backyard, the front yard, sweeping. You use these back muscles, wrenching a little bit. You use the back muscles, the lower back muscles. When you're sitting there driving a truck, you're just using these muscles holding on, sitting there. I told a Uber guy too, I said, you're just sitting. You're not walking or moving around. The body responds to that moving around is better. You're active. And just try to tell him, I says, hey, you got a long ways to go. The guy's about 30 years old. I says, you got a long ways to go, pal. I mean, just put it in your mind. I try to park at the back of the truck stop and make myself walk half a block to the store. These newer guys with the brand new trucks, they got to park right there in the fuel line because they don't want to walk too far. Well, that's not good for you. They know it all. It's no use telling them nothing. They don't want to. They don't want to hear it. Then you got the opposite where these guys are marching around the truck stop, doing the push-ups, working out with weights, and that driving a truck is not a healthy career. If you want to do it, one guy told me, he says, "No, I'm going to do this for 5 years and then take my money and go into another type of business." And I said, you're smart. It was about 25 or 30. Go do something else. Get into real estate. And there's other stuff to do out here. So, well, like I say, I'm kind of tired. I'm just going to make this brief today. God bless everybody. Hopefully, maybe Putin will not be there anymore. Him and that Chinese guy. I don't know. These guys are just really, there's some bad news. They want to dominate the world. That's Satan. That's the devil. Okay, so God bless everybody, and let's hope and pray for the best. Okay, good night.